You can't grasp everything there is to know about an object, a place, or even a person just by looking. Sometimes you still don't understand everything there is to know, even after a detailed examination. The technologies and life of our ancestors remain largely a mystery to us, and that mystery deepens every time archaeologists pull another perplexing thing out of the ground. Let's look at some of them in this video. Number 15. Warangal Fort. Long ago, the Warangal district in India served as the capital of the Kakatiya dynasty. Inside it stood the massive Warangal Fort, built at least 800 years ago. Its stone gates and remnants are still visible, leading toward the ruins of what was once a Shiva temple. Over the centuries, the fort endured several attacks, yet survived thanks to its durable construction, giant granite blocks placed together so tightly that no mortar was needed. That technique remains impressive even today, but the gates themselves are even more puzzling. They're carved with images of lotuses, animals, and mythical creatures, but there are no religious markings. That's strange for ancient India, and might explain why Muslim invaders never destroyed the gates. The carving and polishing of each stone is impossibly precise. Every brick seems cut with the accuracy we don't expect from that era. And yet, all of it was done with rudimentary hand tools, at least as far as we know. Number 14. Ancient Egyptian meteorite beads. Well, humans have worn beads as decoration for thousands of years, maybe even longer. You probably own a few yourself. Tracing the exact origins of the custom is nearly impossible since it developed in different parts of the world around the same time. But these Egyptian beads, about 5,000 years old, have one detail that sets them apart. They came from a meteorite. Instead of being carved from sandstone or iron ore, they were made using meteoritic iron. The iron was flattened into thin sheets, rolled into tubes, and then strung together alongside gold and gems. That choice hints that the Egyptians somehow recognized that this material was more valuable than typical earth rocks. Even if they didn't fully understand where it came from, they knew it was rare. Working with this material wasn't easy either. It's more brittle and difficult than copper, yet they handled it with precision. They were mastering Iron Age techniques thousands of years early. Number 13. Oldest lead artifact. This lead bead-like object with a wood stick might not look like much, but it holds a remarkable distinction. It's the oldest known lead artifact ever found. Dating back at least 6,000 years, it was found in a cave in Israel's Negev desert. Scientists traced the material's origin to Anatolia, which is now part of modern-day Turkey. Unfortunately, we don't know whether the raw lead was imported and then shaped in Israel, or if the finished object was brought over as is. Either way, it points to long-distance trade, routes already active at the time. While it might seem like this bead was decorative, researchers aren't entirely convinced. Wear patterns on its underside suggest it may have served as a spindle whorl used in spinning thread. Whether ornamental or practical, its survival offers a rare glimpse into early metallurgy and cultural exchange. Discoveries like this one help fill in gaps about prehistoric life that written history will never be able to explain. Number 12. Harapa stone and clay tablets. There are two places named Harapa in Pakistan. One is a tiny village that's still home to a few thousand residents today. The other is an ancient city that once had a population of around 23,000, now reduced to scattered ruins. Sadly, what remains of the old settlement was heavily damaged during British colonial rule when stone from the ruins was repurposed for constructing the Lahore-Multan Railway. That act alone has made it even harder for archaeologists to find and understand the site's original form. It's no wonder they still have more questions than answers. To this day, the identity of the builders remains uncertain. Some suggest it was the capital of the Indus Valley civilization, while others think it could belong to an earlier society. The oldest structures here go back 6,000 years. What truly confounds experts are the stone and clay tablets with weird symbols resembling the early Indus script, but they still can't be deciphered. Number 11. Judeian Hills masks. At first glance, these masks look like props from a modern horror movie, but they weren't made to frighten anyone. Archaeologists believe they were created as tributes to the dead. Found in the Judeian Hills, the masks are about 9,000 years old. There are 12 in total, each one carved with distinct facial features. The variety in expressions and structures suggests that they may have been modeled after real individuals rather than gods. The people who made them were among the earliest humans to abandon nomadic life and settle into permanent homes. We can only speculate about their exact purpose. However, the small holes on each side of the masks suggest they were designed to be worn, possibly during rituals or ceremonies. Another theory is that human hair, maybe even the deceased's hair, was threaded through these holes to make the creepy masks more lifelike. Whatever their role was, they held deep meaning for their creators. Number 10. Assyrian Rock Crystal Vase. Let's talk about materials that aren't easy to shape, like rock crystal. This vase is carved from a single, flawless lump of solid crystal. Nothing was pieced together. It's believed to come from Assyria simply because vaguely similar pieces have been found in that region, but nothing of this purity. The small, delicate vase is only about 4 inches tall, but it's nearly perfect in form. Its exact age is uncertain, but experts place it between 2,600 and 2,800 years old, which would make it Neo-Assyrian. Its documented history only begins around 1960, which is one of the reasons scholars still argue about its origin. Almost any other material would have been easier to work with, yet someone chose the hardest option. Whoever commissioned it likely wanted something unmatched. The vase isn't entirely symmetrical, but it's astonishingly close, especially considering the time. The level of craftsmanship is difficult to explain, even with AI. Number 9. The Rock Herd of Slivven. To spot the so-called Rock Herd in Slivven, Bulgaria, you have to look carefully. Time and weather have worn them down, but they're still visible, an entire row of animals carved into the rock face. These petroglyphs mostly show livestock like goats, rams, and bulls, but there are also carvings of wild creatures and aquatic life. The variety suggests more than just a simple livestock tally. Some researchers think they might be linked to the zodiac, while others believe it could be the work of early herders trying to track their animals. The carvings appear to be done by different hands, hinting at a collective effort over time. Since there's no written history or nearby context, it's unlikely we'll ever identify the people who created them. And because dating rock carvings is notoriously unreliable, we can't even pinpoint the age. Still, judging by the erosion alone, it's clear these images have been part of the landscape for an incredibly long time. Number 8. Govinda Beta. Govinda Beta in Bangladesh is usually called a 6th century Hindu temple, but that's only half the picture. And we mean that literally. There are also 2 different temples, built centuries apart, that exist at the same site. Somehow they were joined together in an odd way that makes them appear like one complete structure. The western side is the older temple, and most experts agree it dates to the 6th century. The smaller eastern section came much later, likely in the 11th century, and incorporated pieces from the older structure into its own design. What we're left with is something that looks like one temple attempting to absorb another. Even saying there are only 2 temples might be too simple. Archaeologists found signs of up to 4 rebuilds of each structure over the centuries, including Mauryan-era coins, Sunga terracotta plaques, and a 4th century terracotta Buddha head. While it sits silent now, the site clearly held spiritual meaning for countless people across many generations and changing beliefs. Number 7. Aldo Brandini Taz. The Aldo Brandini Taz, aka the Silver Caesars, may not be as ancient as other artifacts, but they're every bit as puzzling. These 12 silver-gilt cups from the Renaissance aren't just stunning examples of metalwork. They're considered the most masterful 16th century goldsmithing ever recorded. Each one features a bowl, a base, and a detailed figurine of a Roman emperor from Suetonius's The 12 Caesars. Inside each bowl are 4 relief panels showing major events from that emperor's life. There's a slight difference in style between some of the pieces, which suggests one artist may have started the series and another finished it. The mystery is this: we don't know who made them. With craftsmanship this refined, you'd expect an artist's name or at least some documentation, but nothing has turned up. The first recorded mention of the Tazi was in 1603 in Cardinal Pietro Aldo Brandini's inventory. He owned them, but all signs point to them being even older. Number 6. Becki Incense Burner. The gilt bronze incense burner of Becki, now held at the Buyo National Museum, is officially designated as Korea's 287th national treasure. Found at an ancient temple site in Nongsan-ri, Buyo County, this 6th century artifact remains one of the finest surviving examples of Becki artistry. Weighing 26 pounds and standing 25 inches tall, the burner is densely decorated with intricate figures and symbolic motifs. Its lid depicts a vivid mountain scene with animals, musicians, and flowing landscapes, while the body takes the form of a blooming lotus encircled by mythical creatures. It also carries significant historical weight. Unlike earlier Chinese models, this incense burner displays uniquely Korean craftsmanship that distinguishes Becki culture from its Han predecessors. Researchers were especially intrigued by the presence of a wonham, a traditional musical instrument, hinting at cultural ties and exchanges via the Silk Road. Number 5. Portland Vase. This vase is in remarkable condition for a Roman artwork that's over 2,000 years old. But strangely, the only thing scholars can unanimously agree on is that it's made of Roman cameo glass. The vase shows human figures and a snake etched in precise, elegant detail, but no one knows for sure what the scene is meant to depict. The disc at the base, likely showing Priam, was added sometime after the original work was completed. Its origins remain a mystery. There are 3 main theories about the imagery. Some believe it represents historical figures, others say it's entirely mythological. The third camp thinks it's mythology presented in historical terms, making it even more confusing. The most accepted idea is that it portrays the wedding of Thetis and Peleus, but other theories suggest it involves Apollo, Augustus, Cleopatra, Mark Antony, or even the events following Caesar's death. Without knowing who crafted it, no theory can be confirmed. Number 4. Bronze Age Dagger. This Bronze Age dagger, found near Krasnystal, Poland, is believed to be over 3,500 years old. Despite its age, it's in exceptional shape. The edges remain sharp, the structure solid, and there's barely a trace of corrosion. It has a lenticular blade with a strong central ridge and a semicircular base with 6 rivet holes where a handle once fit, though the grip has long vanished. This dagger is the first of its kind discovered in this part of Poland, and one of only a few like it across the country. Based on its style and craftsmanship, experts think it may have come from the Danube region, carried over vast distances by ancient traders. It was found just beneath the surface by a local metal detectorist working with the Wallachia Historical Association. The dagger is now undergoing analysis at the Lublin Provincial Conservator's Lab, where researchers hope it will reveal more about early European trade networks and metallurgy. Number 3. Iron Age Vessel Horde. A major archaeological find surfaced in March 2019 in Monmouthshire, Wales, but wasn't officially announced until May 2023. This Iron Age vessel hoard was unearthed during the Roman occupation of Britain and later declared official treasure by the assistant coroner for Gwent. The discovery happened when metal detectorist John Matthews located an enameled bucket mount and a decorated copper saucepan while searching a field in Lantressant Fort. Realizing their importance, he contacted the Portable Antiquities Scheme Simru, prompting a full excavation. Archaeologists soon uncovered horn tips and the head of a small copper ox, which turned out to be part of a copper alloy bowl. Additional finds included a copper alloy cauldron, strainer, 2 Roman copper saucepans, 2 wooden tankards lined with copper, and a large Iron Age wooden bucket featuring copper alloy fittings. The objects are thought to represent a ceremonial drinking set, but who knows the truth, because that's history. Number 2. Griffin Warrior Rings. In 2015, archaeologists uncovered 4 stunning gold signet rings in the tomb of a Bronze Age warrior. The craftsmanship is flawless. Even modern tools would struggle to recreate the level of detail seen on each ring. They were made by someone with an incredibly steady hand and a sharp eye. Some even say it would take magnification and electric tools to replicate this kind of precision today. The rings are attributed to the Minoan civilization, largely because one of them features a leaping bull, a symbol often associated with Minoan art. The other 3 rings are more puzzling. They feature prominent female figures, which doesn't entirely align with what we know about the patriarchal Minoan society. All 4 rings came from the grave of the so-called Griffin warrior, who was also buried with a bronze sword, a gold dagger, an ivory griffin plaque, and a bronze mirror. Whoever he was, he clearly held a high status and immense wealth in life. Number 1. Trunk of undelivered letters. We've all dealt with late mail, but this is extreme. A trunk filled with over 2,600 undelivered letters from the 17th century was found in the Museum voor Communicatie in The Hague, Netherlands. Before Yale historian Rebecca Arendt opened it, the waterproof sealskin trunk hadn't been touched since 1926. The letters were written between 1689 and 1707, mostly by people in the Netherlands, France, and Spain. Many ended up in the trunk because recipients either couldn't be located or flat out refused to pay the postage, then a burden on the receiver, not the sender. The letters come from all social classes: farmers, nobles, singers, and even spies. One stands out. Addressed to a wealthy merchant, it hints that one of his lovers was pregnant and needed money without saying it directly. Because they're written in the everyday dialects of ordinary people, not polished official speech, they offer a rare glimpse into real 17th century lives. And until recently, no one had read them. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you very soon.